This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Betty.
And I'm Stacey Van Dyke. North Dakota's abortion trigger ban was set to go in effect in just a couple hours, but it's on hold tonight following a last-minute ruling by a state district judge who approved a temporary restraining order.
But it may not last long. North Dakota Attorney General Drew Wrigley told us today he planned to do his part to get the wheels in motion and make the trigger law take effect, writing, quote, "I will officially recertify what has been clear from the day the Supreme Court handed down its decision in Roe v. Wade, and the trigger ban shall be given its full effect," end quote. Wrigley, by the way, confirmed to us just about 1 hour ago he did deliver that certification to the North Dakota Legislative Council this evening.
But in the meantime, the Center for Reproductive Rights posted on its Twitter page that abortion care will continue at Red River Women's Clinic in Fargo, the last remaining abortion clinic in North Dakota.
Valley News Team's Alex Larson spoke with volunteers there today about their next steps.
Abortion providers are the most compassionate and empathetic people, and they won't turn anybody away.
And with the block put on the trigger ban, for now, the Red River Women's Clinic says North Dakota has always been a hostile place for abortions. So her organization has always helped people get out-of-state care if they want and need.
That's something that we are familiar with, and we are experts at that. We're experts at getting people the care that they need, and we'll continue to bridge that gap. I'm confident in that.
The block is temporary, but Spaeth says ND Win Fund's mission remains the same now and in the future.
We look forward to more events, more engagement. Obviously, funding patients is our #1 priority, helping them pay for their abortion procedures, their travel, STI testing, ultrasounds, birth control, hotel stipends, meal vouchers, whatever they're needing leading up to and on the day of their appointment, we're going to be there for them.
Volunteers say this block will help out the clinic.
Buys more time for the clinic and the patients to kind of prepare for the move. And I know it's going to be a lot less strenuous on the people that work at this clinic.
And they may not need too much time. The director of the Red River Women's Clinic said to a national news outlet they will be ready to see patients in Minnesota as early as next week.
Patients will know where they're going, and people will eventually find out where it's at. But as of right now, it's really important that there aren't any barriers to access, and that includes the building staying safe.
In Fargo, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
Meanwhile, their fundraising efforts continue to help that clinic move to Moorhead. Here is a live look at their GoFundMe page. You see, closing in on $1 million raised. More than $12,000 or $13,000 was raised today alone.
Hutch joins us now with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Well, as quiet as it is here in the Southern Valley this evening, wasn't that way all evening long. We have thunderstorms rumble through. We have a great time lapse, though, as we have a few clouds drifting overhead now as we head into the sunset hours. It's going to be a quiet overnight, but you shared some pretty awesome photos. I want to share a couple things here with you. First and foremost, our shower and thunder shower chances are exiting. Rain shower making its way through Towner County, moving from north to south right now. The chances of rain tonight are pretty low. Now, we already have some pretty cool areas in the 50s. 57 Thief River Falls and Langdon, 60 Jamestown, 63 in Fergus Falls this hour. Now, check this out. Visible satellite imagery. It's as if you're looking out the window of the space shuttle, and where you see the white stuff, that's clouds. See these long streams of clouds here? These are cumulus clouds in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Zooming in, you can see they stretched from South Dakota and the Southern Valley near Fairmount, Breckenridge, Fergus Falls, Otter Tail County, Battle Lake. Check out these photos you shared of what they look like from the underside. Cumulus clouds in the upper atmosphere are called cirrocumulus clouds, and they are getting stretched out by some jet stream winds that were ripping between 50 and 100 miles per hour. And this is way up there, about 7.5 miles or so up in the atmosphere. This is from Wahpeton Crystal. Thanks for sharing those. Bev shared these from Barney, right the same areas as we saw them on the visible satellite image, and Perham even catching a little glimpse of these as well. Thank you so much for sharing all of your photos of the skies tonight. Coming up, we'll have details on your forecast, but for tonight, prepare for nice, cool conditions. Open those windows, give the AC a break, because this cool weather won't stick around. We'll talk about hot weather here in a minute.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
New tonight, 2 bodies have been recovered from a house fire, in fact, explosion in Hopkins, Minnesota. Hopkins Police and Fire Departments responded to a home on the 200 block of 21st Avenue North just after 10 this morning. You're looking at the wreckage after neighbors reported that explosion.
Our lives are fragile and tenuous no matter how well off we are or how secure we feel. Something like this can happen, and that's frightening.
A family member identified the bodies recovered as Herb and Sharon Vassar. They're in their 80s. They'd lived there for decades. Investigators believe a gas leak built up inside the building, but no word on what exactly set it off.
Also new for you tonight, if you haven't checked it out yet, your back to school list is more expensive this year.
Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor shows us how these rising prices will impact parents and educators and how one local group is helping.
The National Retail Federation says families are expected to spend 40% more on school supplies this year, almost $170 per child. Even simple items are going to be more expensive, though prices vary from store to store. A book bag at Walmart costs between $15 to $30, but at Target you could pay up to $60. And not only are parents footing the bill for supplies, educators are also forking out extra cash to prepare for their students this upcoming school year.
I would definitely say you can see the prices have been going up on some of those materials that we would consider essential for the classrooms. It is hard to see because a lot of supplies in the classroom come out of our own pockets.
Nearly a year ago, a Facebook group called Clear the List was started as a resource for the community to donate supplies to educators. And so far, they have more than 10,000 members.
We all know teachers. We all know an educator of some kind, and we know that they're struggling.
And the Facebook group's founder says the need has been continuously growing.
Everybody's budgets are tight. Everybody's trying to pinch where they can.
The educators say during these trying financial times, the donations have been a big help.
Just those extra things that will help make our teaching and the learning for students a little bit more special.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
Clear the List has reached nearly all 50 states as well as Canada.
Meanwhile, even the state of North Dakota is being hit hard by the highest inflation in 40 years. Inflation's at 9.1% right now. Since the state only creates a budget every 2 years, state agencies are tied to the budget they crafted when inflation was much less, around 2%. The Labor Department is, of course, also highly competitive. With prices rising, agencies need to get creative to try to afford to pay workers what they need and what they're worth.
They budget for all their positions to be filled, but as a couple positions become vacant, they might decide, we just don't have enough salary dollars to fill both of these because of inflationary pressures in the labor market. So we can only fund one. We can only hire one of these people. So that's a challenge.
Agencies have started now submitting preliminary budget proposals for the next biennium, their next 2-year budget. Morrison says it's still too early to say, but there's a strong possibility those numbers will be higher than their current budget because of the rise in inflation. The Federal Reserve made another move today to try and tamp down rising prices. The board raised a key rate 0.75 of 1 percentage point. It's their 4th rate hike just since March. The move is designed to slow down the economy, keep prices in check by raising the price to borrow certain loans. Tomorrow morning, investors will get a better indication of where exactly the economy stands. The latest measure of the U.S. gross domestic product comes out tomorrow.
Get more expensive next month. If you're going to get a new car loan, that could be more expensive. People who have adjustable rate mortgages, when the adjustment comes, it's probably going to adjust higher.
If tomorrow's GDP comes in below zero in negative numbers, that is the traditional sign. It'll be the 2nd quarter in the row